YouTube, what's going on? We got another video here by Rev Say Desu. This video says popular VTuber's career implodes after sabotaging friends and blaming it on her manager. Is it Sinder? Oh my god, I only realized this is Sinder. As you guys know, Sinder is one of my favorite YouTube VTubers. Sinder actually brought me back to this whole YouTube game. Check my old videos. One of the first videos that popped off for me was Sinder. She actually blew me up. I love Sinder. So I want to see what happened. Dude, don't tell me, say it ain't so. Say it ain't so, bro. Let's check it out.
Hey, what's up guys, Rip here. So today we're going to be talking about some big VTuber related drama involving one of the largest indie VTubers on the scene, and that is of course Sinder, who is now losing a lot of her own fans as well as some of her connections to peers over a barrage of Google Docs that were released yesterday that show many negative things about her from behind the scenes, making a very clear picture that she is someone who is very manipulative, she's paranoid and very deceitful, and even targets these things not just to anyone, but to some people within the VTubing scene who considered her a friend. She was doing all of this, actively sabotaging some of her own friends in private, trying to hurt their career, all to line her own pocket, to make sure she's the one still on top and that these other people are no longer a threat to her. So
no, not Sinder, bro. Nah, dude, and I love Sinder. This is so heartbreaking. Okay, dude, and I love Sinder. I feel like Sinder, bro, every time I've seen her around other VTubers, because she's very indie. Sinder is the type of, if you know, you know. She's not the biggest, but man, for me, she is pretty big. I should continue reacting to her videos because, man, she really brought me back to this YouTube game. You know, I don't know why I stopped reacting to her videos. I only reacted once and never again. I don't know why. It was weird. She really brought me back to doing YouTube because at the time, I think I kept on posting videos and I was only getting like 10 views. I posted a video of reacting to her going to like an anime convention. It got like 800 views, and from that video I kind of didn't stop posting videos, you know? Like, she kind of brought me back, bro. That's so sad.
We're going to be talking about several Google Docs here. We're going to kind of weave our way through them to get more context as we go. And I promise you it's definitely worth kind of trudging through this video to get more and more context, because as you get more context, the more unhinged all of this gets. And of course, for brevity's sake, I'm not going to read through every single document. You can do that on your own. They're very easy to find on Twitter right now, but I'm just going to quickly summarize the key points and give you some good context to work with here. So let's begin with this individual right here. This was the first Google Doc released onto Twitter by the user Nanolus. And this Google Doc, or at least the tweet sharing it, has 8 million views, to give you an idea of how big of a deal this is. Okay, so who's this individual? Well, they're an artist who works primarily with VTubers, working with some of the biggest people in the industry, including some
8 million views is a lot. So all of these VTubers that I hear, bro, these are, if you know, you know, but they're big. They're kind of big, you know, but you know what they're doing, bro, is a lot. It's pretty cool what they're doing, bro. They're doing their own thing, and yeah, I guess, you know, VTubing in itself is pretty big. Trust, you know?
Very large agency VTubers like Iron Mouse, and also some of the biggest indie VTubers like Sinder, as well as Silvervale, who will also be a part of this story today. So let's begin with the intro of her Google Doc. So she says this: I wanted to share my experience with Sinder and Red manipulating me, using me, and dragging me into drama while sabotaging, slandering, and spreading lies about people I thought were her closest friends. Not only do I no longer wish to work with Sinder, but I want to share what I've endured over the years and shed light on what she has been doing behind people's backs to protect artists and friends that may be experiencing something similar.
I don't know. Like both sides for me, because I've never heard any drama from Cinder. I've never seen Cinder in any drama. So like I don't know, maybe is it a retaliation? You know, this is somebody, you know, that I don't know, you know. Okay, let's continue seeing and then maybe I'll give my judgment at the end. You know?
Note, based on working with Redacted or Red, Cinder's manager, and Cinder over the years, I am sure that they speak for one another, and there is no reason to believe Red was acting without Cinder's consent and knowledge. Whenever I use they or them, it refers to both of them acting as a team. So,
kind of have to disagree with that. Managers are not the artist. Managers have an incentive for them to help the artist or the person which employed them. So it's not a direct access, but I totally understand where he's coming from. That yeah, in regard, in a formal sense, in a professional sense, that your manager is basically, when I'm talking to your manager, I'm basically talking to you. So I get it, you know.
So the first thing to cover here is who is this Redacted or Red individual who's being mentioned many times, and it's important to understand who they are because their name will come up over and over again, especially in a lot of the early screenshots we're going to be seeing. So this is the Redacted individual, Red, as they're known here, and this is their pinned tweet on social media, and they are Cinder's manager. Now, I picked this pinned tweet to show because I recognize this image. It's from WeebCon 2024, where I was a featured guest, and I mention this because I attended it in person, and I got a bird's eye view of everything going on at the convention. There was a lot of big names at this convention, especially from the VTubing scene. But
I wonder how Riff looks in real life. That's one person which I always be wondering. How does him and his wife look, honestly?
I don't think anyone was as big as Cinder. She brought in a lot of people to this convention. Her meet and greet line was out the door. Her merch was flying off the shelves. Every event, including the concert she participated in, was filled to the brim with fans. She was a very big deal.
Of course. It's Sinder, dude. Sinder is honestly one of the biggest indie VTubers that's out there. If you know, you know. Sinder is huge, bro. She's too big. Like, that's one thing which I gotta give her respect. She worked super hard, you know?
Now, I bring that up not to, like, gas her up or something, but to show that she is doing very well financially. She is at the top of the VTubing scene, at least independently, and she doesn't really have a need for more money and more fame, as it would seem to the normal person, which makes her actions, where she's privately sabotaging her own friends in the industry, even more crazy, because it's totally unnecessary with her circumstances. Now, continuing on with this Red individual, you can see this response to what we'll see is Cinder's first and only response to this entire thing, actually ratioing her, okay? This is from Van Peaches. She's someone who's been around the ASMR and VTubing scene for many years. She said this: I remember playing Phasmophobia with you and hearing Red chat away next to you before you debuted like 4 years ago. You told me he was your boyfriend. Then before we met for TwitchCon, you switched up and said, just so you know, my manager is coming with me on this trip, as if I didn't know who he was. It's even ickier to read this tweet knowing he is your significant other and that you're probably going to try and avoid taking responsibility for hurting people who trusted you as friends by nuking the Red side of this duo.
Okay, whoa. I don't know. Like, you know, because, yeah, one thing which I know about VTubers, they do move kind of like idols. So, I don't know, dude, we don't know, bro. Like, you know, we do not know. Man, I don't know. It's just very fishy or sticky. So, we'll see.
Now, this is crazy. Once again, for the 1,000th time in the VTubing scene, the VTuber manager turns out to also be the secret boyfriend.
True.
Many
times. Why does that happen? Okay, well, I get it, because they're moving like idols. Them having a desirability is also marketable. It's also a marketing tactic to make the person seem, oh, I'm single, so it gets more people and more eyes on the VTuber. Trust. It's what idols do. You know, I don't know if you guys know idol culture in Japan. They do that. They try and act like they're this other, like, different type of person. Meanwhile, they're human beings too. Of course, I'm not saying she mustn't be in a relationship, but at the same time, you know.
Many such cases. But this is very messy because there seems to be an issue of loyalty here. Now, there was another Google Doc that was released by this Rain individual who is part of the ASMR scene, who shared this detailing their experience with Sinder in private, where at the time, seemingly when Sinder was with this red individual, the manager boyfriend, she was cheating on him with this guy via sexual personal messages and stuff like that. And I'm not going to sit here and read through all this. It's very clear.
Please don't.
The context is abundantly clear that everyone involved in this knew Sinder was in a relationship, and she was venting embarrassing details of their relationship to this guy. And also they were sharing sexual messages and seemingly also like not safe for work, photos possibly and stuff like that. Clearly there was that sort of thing going on here. And of course, this person's no saint. They're interfering with a relationship and all that, but it just proves there's a very big question of loyalty with Sinder, and we're gonna see that pretty much replicated among her friendships.
Nah, bro. Of course, it's the industry, bro. What was the Drake song again? No friends in the industry, bro. There's no friends in no industry. VTubing, anime, music, whatever industry you're in, there's no friends, bro. There's no such thing as friends. Nobody's your friend. The fuck, you know?
Throughout this video. And this is the response. And I guess she's not even loyal to the manager boyfriend, because her first and only response to this situation currently is this tweet that she made shortly after the first Google Doc was released. And it seems like an attempt to get on top of this, but it's just backfiring. So she said, effective immediately, redacted, will no longer be managing or overseeing my VTuber activities. He no longer represents me as a creator, my brand, or my intentions. I'm sorry, everyone. I'll make a larger response when I'm able. So, as we...
Sinder, that's a bad response. I feel like she should have just taken a few days to just kind of analyze the situation. Take a few days, analyze the situation. Don't now come out and say this, because now we're going to be like, huh? You switching up? You know, I don't like this response. But for now, I'm going to give her what? Grace. Because I still haven't seen the whole video.
Saw Van Peaches would correct Sinder in the replies and ratio her, saying, by the way, this was your boyfriend the whole time, and I predicted you would do this. But
Same.
also keep in mind, with these sort of teaser apologies where they're like hinting at what they're going to discuss in the apology that's going to come out whenever, it's about what you mention and what you don't mention. And the only thing she really mentions here is redacted. Basically kicking the VTuber manager boyfriend to the side and saying...
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you just now say that only about your boyfriend? And you're not addressing the elephant in the room. There's an elephant in the room, but you're gonna go to your boyfriend. Huh? That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, this is very weird. You know, but as I said, benefit of the doubt. Let's finish the video.
Saying, oh, I'm sorry about everything he did. And that's really all she covers. She doesn't cover anything she said herself or any of the really crazy stuff we're going to be seeing in these Google Docs. But yeah, not a very good start. But
terrible start.
Let's return to the Google Doc, the initial one from Nanolis, saying this: slandering other creators. I will start with screenshots showing them speaking ill of other creators and spreading rumors while manipulating me. It's all in our best interest. In addition to spreading ill rumors, they also complain and accuse Bao of giving their editor too much work, and referring there to, I guess, either a joint effort between those parties or Cinder's, not really sure, but anyways, it says resulting in the editor not having any time for new clients, which will be important later on. The screenshots below show them showing their affection and appreciation, immediately followed by spreading rumors and lies to make other clients appear problematic to manipulate any future decisions regarding commissions. Now,
I would say that's a business move. It's business. It's nothing deep when it comes to people now stealing each other's editors. It's scummy. Trust, it's very scummy when you steal somebody that referred you to their editor. Now you're stealing them, but it's business, you know. It happens every time. I mean, Playboi Carti, I don't know if you're a music fan, Playboi Carti did it to Kanye, stole his producers. It happens, guys. It happens, you know. People are gonna move with the wave, you know. If they can see that, okay, cool, this person actually works hard and is doing the most, I'm taking that person. Same thing, I would do the same. So yeah, you know, it happens.
They share various screenshots proving what they just said, but because we had the name drop here, that is, of course, Bow the Whale. He was another very successful independent VTuber who would make her own response to this situation, her own Google Doc, because she was hurt by someone she considered a friend.
Wow, people are releasing the receipts. Oh, this is bad. This is terrible. Jeez Louise.
Discovering all these messages that are trying to blackball her, at least with some of the artists she wishes to work with in the industry. So she would share some of this in her Google Doc, and you can see at the beginning, she clarifies again, as Nanolis did, that because she was close and worked with Sinder for years and considered her a friend, she can say, based on her experience, that Sinder and Red collaborate to the extent in which Red operates as her primary point of contact in her professional and personal projects, and they believe that basically any effort done by Red is something that was known about and approved by Sinder, which is not surprising given the fact it's the manager boyfriend. Okay, so let's get into some of the things that were said about Bow. So in March of 2024, I announced that one of my subathon goals was a live 2D model. Nanolis was going to be the live 2D illustrator. So if you're not familiar with what that means, basically, she set a sub-goal where she would then commission Nanolis to make a new model for her, some sort of enhancement of whatever she already had. Okay. And that is a very big endeavor. I believe Nanolis's commissions for a VTuber model are like 10 grand. Woo! Like, they're very, very expensive investments. So this is a pretty big thing to do. And also, it seems
10 grand, guys. Jeez Louise, you VTubers are committed. Being a VTuber is expensive, bro, and that's not even including equipment, because you need the equipment, you need like the whole like rig and all of that, because remember, these guys, they like rig up stuff so it can scan their face and all of that, the motion sensor, and oh my gosh, bro, damn. Jeez Louise, Nanolis must be the top guy. Oh my God. It's very
clear from the jump here that Bao was very excited about this opportunity to work with Nanolis because her models are very good. Hence why so many people who are at the top of the industry work with her.
Yeah.
But she continues on. After she finished both the design and base model sketch, there was suddenly back and forth on whether or not she had the physical and mental capacity to continue my model. I was very sad as I had not only teased a screenshot of the model sketch on Twitter, but I had also grown very attached to the design and showed it to all my friends in a private group chat that Sinder was a part of. I shared how devastated I was, and she did not comment or say anything despite others in the group chat comforting and reassuring me. I now realize that the reason for her silence was because Sinder and Redacted were deliberately sabotaging ongoing commissions and blocking VTubers such as myself from having access to art from Nanolis. So you can see this screenshot that we'll see multiple times throughout these docs here. Basically trying to set up an exclusivity.
Lol, this was on my birthday. This was actually on my birthday. I was born on the 15th of Jan.
Deal with Nanolis. So Redacted here saying, what about we pay you X and you don't have to discount it from the next payment, and we'll continue giving you lots of model work, I think like around 4 years right now, but you don't work with Bow, a censor name at all again. Models or art. I don't think you've ever done anything with Bow before. Also, we have some other work, yada, yada, yada. So what they're trying to say is, if you agree to this, we'll pay you a certain amount to just work exclusively with us and not with anyone else in the industry, which is already...
Yeah, that's called gatekeeping 101. yeah, big artists do this. People that don't, because they know if they give it to these other people, ooh, it might go down. Oh, that's interesting. That's very scummy, but it's just scummy, guys. It's nothing deep. I still love Cinder. I'm biased, to this because Cinder did, put me on. So yeah,
kind of a potentially scummy move.
yeah, it's just scummy. As I said, he's also agreeing with me. It's just scummy,
right? You're trying to like gatekeep this artist.
Yeah, as I said,
someone,
save wavelength, gatekeeping, basically.
Having an exclusive artist isn't exactly a crazy thing, but in this case, it is because one of the targets, Bao, was their friend.
Yep.
They're basically chopping off contact with an artist that Bao already works with through this exclusivity agreements.
As the old saying goes, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Smart move. Gotta give it to her.
And that is something pretty messed up, if you ask me. Trying to literally sabotage their own career and some of their activities so they can basically keep reins on this artist because they don't want this artist to enhance the careers of the people around them.
Guys, there's a lot of artists in this world. I don't think Nanoless is the only one. But at the same time, if maybe they paid Nanoless and Nanoless is now saying they don't want to do it, or he ripped them over, he must give the money back, or she. But at the same time, come on, guys. It's just one artist. It's just only one. And if maybe this is the creme de la creme of artists for VTubers, then yeah, it sucks. But at the same time, there's many artists out there in this world, bro. It's not a train smash, honestly.
But they get even crazier down here. They say, we could do it when blank asks for art, you tell her no, and then tell us to buy another art piece. So you get another job from it. Which we'll find out, spoiler alert, this is Silverveil, by the way. They're so hung up on this exclusivity thing, they'll literally just make up things to commission just to make sure these other parties are not getting anything from this artist.
Smart. That's pretty smart. I gotta give it to them. Scummy. Yes, very scummy, but smart. That's business. This is how business is, guys. This is how big businesses work. If you want to be on the top, you gotta do things in order for you to stay at the top.
It's a pretty crazy endeavor that they're going for with this stuff. But
yeah, literally gatekeeping. This is gatekeeping. For real. This is what we call gatekeeping. A pure example of gatekeeping, bro. Crazy.
Let's talk about the other things that were said about Bao. There's a bunch of screenshots. Again, I'm just going to sum them up for the sake of brevity here, where they tried to pepper Nanoless with a very negative image of Bao. And then they present the exclusivity agreement. They want to make it seem like Bao is this unreliable, bad person who's going to ultimately be a disappointment for Nanoless. Wow. So you might as well sign this exclusivity agreement with us. That's what they were going for. They were saying stuff about how she's been trying to take away some of their editors, that they're convinced that she tried to convince these editors to no longer work with Redacted and Cinder, and that she's trying to bark up the tree of one of their live 2D animators, and that it's so annoying, and that she has all these issues. It's really just lined out here. She's been getting on their nerves for a while. She hijacked their YouTube editor, constantly picking up.
As I said, as the old saying, guys, goes, who needs enemies when you got friends like this? This is her friends. Nah, dude, Reacted, this is scummy, bro. This is so scummy. Nah. Well, I mean, it's business, I guess. This is influencer world, guys. Welcome to being an influencer. If you want to be an influencer, man, friends like this.
Artists that they work with, barking up the tree of the live 2D animators. And also, as pointed out right down here, she has a way of guilt-tripping people to get her way, which is an incredibly ironic thing for Redacted to be saying in this context. But as you can see, it just continues on and on with more things, trying to basically push down these other creators and form this exclusivity agreement that will ultimately work to the benefit of Cinder and to the detriment of the other potential clients. But of course, we had that whole thing where they had to cancel their endeavor with Bao. They had this model in the works, and they had to come out of nowhere and basically say, yeah, I gotta cancel this because, well, I have these issues going on and I don't have time for it, the capacity for it. And again, it serves towards this exclusivity agreement, which, again, let's shift gears back to the original Google Doc. I know it's like all over the place, but that's how we're working through this stuff.
We're following.
There is a section about exclusivity and blacklisting other creators.
Yeah.
And you can see in the messages below, they mentioned wanting an exclusivity contract, but they didn't want to pay for exclusivity, but rather...
If I was Bao, dude, for me, it wouldn't be that deep. Like, if an artist doesn't want to work with me, I take my business somewhere else. Like, come on. Like, Nanolist is not... Well, I don't know. Like, this is coming from a guy that just talks about anime titties. So, I don't know, like, is Bao really that powerful for him to actually have so much power in the 2D, like, making characters and stuff? Like, I don't know, dude. But, yeah, I don't know. Well, Nanolist, I mean, not Bao. I'm mixing them up. Sorry.
When a creator from their blacklist comes asking for a commission, they would guarantee me model work for Sinder only, and if anyone asked for my commissions, they commissioned me instead to compensate for not working with other creators. This felt very strange, given that one of the accusations they made was overworking their editor, yet their solution to me working with other creators was for them to essentially overwork me to keep me from working on other projects.
Smart.
And again, yes, the irony is pretty palpable here, but again, referring to some of the stuff down here,
like, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I'll say my thoughts later.
Pressure that they're trying to line up over this whole exclusivity thing is crazy. We also see one of our concerns is that more nano babies means nano models don't have the same value anymore. So, in case you don't know what the nano babies things means, it basically means one of the Vtuber models she created that they would be referred to as nano babies, right? And they're trying to put pressure on nanolists, saying if you keep making more models and you keep working with more people and, you know, making a living for yourself.
That's so stupid. That's so stupid. That's a stupid concept. Like, Redact is being so manipulative. This is manipulation, guys. Holy. Hey, man, VTubing is lit like this, bro. God damn. Jeez Louise. Redactive, shout out to you, bro.
You're going to make these models less valuable for Sinder, and you're going to hurt her bottom line.
Insane.
You can see the angle they're going for right there, but there's also some more redacted sections over here, but Sinder herself would respond to this whole point about the nano babies not having the same value anymore, and she would say this in response to Nanolist saying, hey, Sinder, hope you're doing okay. I talked with Red, and I believe he talked to you already. I thought it would be best if I just checked here personally. Actually, I wanted to know better your thoughts because Red tried to talk to me, and I think I misunderstood things. They asked, what's up? And they say, oh, it's mostly this, referring to the diminishing value of these nano babies as they work with more clients.
Oh my god.
I thought on canceling some models because of it, but then I realized it's not really fair to me.
Yeah.
It's
starting to now. Okay, cool. Nano didn't have a problem with him canceling Bao and a few other, because you saw, I think there were like maybe like 4 VTubers. It was like, okay, cool. I don't mind canceling the 4 VTubers, cool, because I want a relationship with you. I've built a relationship with you. You want to gatekeep, fine. Now Red is now coming up with this whole weird line. It's like, wait a second. He's literally saying that I mustn't do anything. I work for him now. What? Now Nano is now trying to run to Sinder and say, bro, what's going on? For real, because he was complying all this time, but then he's like, wait, bro. Now this is getting weird. What's going on, Sinder? Talk to me, you know?
Realize, wait a second, this isn't very fair.
Yeah.
Sinder responds by saying, I understand what he means, but at the end of the day, it's just business.
As I said.
That is the quote that people are taking away from this. We've heard other infamous quotes in the VTubing scene that have backfired or presented themselves as very ironic with context, but the whole thing about it's just business at the end of the day is a perfect summation of what's going on here. It's all just business to Sinder, and that's okay, right? On its face. It's okay to treat this like a business and to try to maximize.
It is. As I said, this is all business moves. None of this is personal. It's all business moves. As I said, keeping your keeping your friends close, but your enemies closer, just so you can watch. Okay, cool. This person wants to do this move. I'm gonna block them. This person wants to do this move. I block. Gatekeep, so everything can come to you. Well, smart.
Maximize your opportunities, but when you're already at the top of the VTubing scene and you're privately going around and
they want to stay at the top. That's how it is. They want to stay at the top. For real. She wants to stay at the top. Let me tell you a quick story. I'll summarize it quickly. I'm from a country, South Africa. I'm currently in Zimbabwe. So in South Africa, hip hop was the biggest genre for 10 years. The reason why it's no more the biggest genre no more is because of this gatekeeping. People get tired of seeing the same 10 artists over and over. We want fresh blood. So Sinder doesn't realize that in her doing this, she is also destroying herself. It's dumb.
Sabotaging the careers of your own friends and other peers. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
It's insane
behavior. Now, let's go back to this right here. You're seeing some more redacted names. Don't work with blank ever again. Down here, again, you don't work with these people ever again. And there was also this mention about when someone asked for art, this particular individual. Well, we know who this individual is now. It is Silvervale, another person who is very popular in the VTubing scene and really just content creation in general. And she made her own statement about this because based on context, she figured out...
More Google Docs. My statement to Sinder and Redactive. Oh my god. Sinder, what the F, bro? What are you doing?
A lot of these mentions were about her. But this is an interesting one because she's not friends with Sinder. In fact, a lot of the details we're going to see is a lot of pressure being put on Silvervale by Sinder to form a business relationship or a forced friendship, really just for financial opportunities that leaves Silvervale uncomfortable and constantly rejecting Sinder and her ideas regarding those things I just mentioned. But let's begin with the intro from Silvervale, saying her intention is to give herself closure of these events that personally affected her. I debated if I wanted to even say anything after being asked if I wanted my name in the original document censored, as the situation is much bigger than just my personal experience. However, after finding out how...
Silvervale is just now clout chasing. This is a clout move. This is a clout move. I gotta be honest. I gotta be fair. I gotta be fair.
And extensive the transgressions were, I feel the need to give...
But at the same time, don't shoot me. I get where she's coming from. Because it's like, I don't know this person. I have no relationship for this person. But they're trying to sabotage me? Nah, damned if they do that to me. I get where she's also coming from, So yeah.
Clarity to my situation and how I was personally affected. I want to...
Sinder shouldn't fire this manager. This manager is actually doing the most, bro. We all need managers like this. Why would you fire somebody that the best interest is you? Their best interest is you. That's stupid. I don't think she should fire Redactive. Both are scummy. Come on, that's stupid.
Note, as others have, that a majority of the messages are from Redacted.
If I was Sinder, dude, I wasn't even gonna care. I was gonna say, yeah, I did it. So what? So what, bruh? I was never your guys' friends anyway. Cause it's business, bruh. It's content, bruh. No friends in the industry type shit,
Sinder's manager, I find it impossible that he acted solely on his own intentions without Sinder's knowledge or consent, given the extent to which he has represented her publicly and professionally. And she talks
Yeah, no, I think reading that previous message, it's just business, bruh.
about some of these situations involving things we've already talked about. But the big part here is now the reveal that this exclusivity agreement not only targeted Bao and this censored name, but also Silver. And then directly...
I bet Nanoless sent everybody these things. Ooh, this is sticky. This is so sticky.
Mentions Silvervale down here, saying if Silver ever asks for art, you tell her no, and then we'll buy you another piece of art. Like I said, literally burning their own money just to make sure Silvervale doesn't have an opportunity to work with this artist.
Smart.
Pretty wild stuff.
Smart.
But of course, we looked through everything, and it's getting pretty unhinged. So, down here we see Sinder making a claim that we'll see repeated multiple times.
It's just business.
So when Nanoless starts saying that they're sorry for stepping back on this exclusivity deal, that they wanted to apologize personally to Sinder, and that they've talked with Red as well, and they don't want to be dragged into personal issues and drama and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it's getting weird. Nano realizes that, whoa, I'm trying to do my thing. Y'all are now cramping my space, yo. You know, I get that it's all business, but I want to expand my horizons, you know? I want to go up. You guys are already up, but you want to pull me down because, you know, you're trying to control me. They're basically trying to control Nano. That's unfair. Nano realized that, whoa, I'm in too deep. I need to get out. I need to get the fuck out of here. For real, you know?
And that they don't want to basically abandon Silvervale as a client, and it's destroying their mentality to do that kind of a deal.
That's cap. He realizes, nah, this is bullshit. Why am I in this? Why am I doing this for Sinder? Nah, F that, bro. Nano would rather want to tarnish their relationship on his terms, not on Cinder's terms. No, bro. You get me?
Sinder says, I get it, Nano, and it was unfair to push this on you, but it's just really confusing going back and forth about it. I just get compared to her a lot, even still today, and it's like I'm always living in someone's shadows, which is one reason why Red asked you about not making any more models for her.
Then get another artist. Get another artist. Stop manipulative. That's manipulation, basically.
So you can see that this comparison
that's manipulation
to Silvervale is
get another artist. It's that simple. Come on. Like these VTubers are acting as if like, you know, it's some other. No, nigga, come on. Get another artist. I bet there's 50 people like Nano. Nano may be the best, but come on, dude. There are people that can do this shit for real. Come on.
Living,
you know?
rent free in her mind. And also just speaking casually here, like I don't really get the connection that much.
Gaslighting.
And also, I would say Sinder really shouldn't be so threatened by everyone around her. Like I said, she's up at the top. I don't know why she's so hostile to everyone that's even close to her. But of course,
it's business. It's main character syndrome, basically. You know, damn, I'm turning against Sinder. No.
This mention of someone kind of ripping off their brand, reminding people too much of themselves or being compared to, is something we've seen before.
Stupid.
With Nyan Tails here, okay, someone from the ASMR scene, pointing out that a couple years back, they were dogpiled by their community, by Cinder's community, because she decided to make a Cuddles with a Lonely Hellhound ASMR audio. Okay, so in case it wasn't clear already, Sinder has a Hellhound themed VTuber, and people in her community, seeing that someone had the audacity to try to claim any sort of ownership of a Hellhound concept.
Stupid, honestly. They should be ashamed of themselves. Sinder has no rights or no authority. She doesn't have no licensing or anything trade related. Come on, guys. It's not that deep, you know. Come on, you know.
Even making unfair. An ASMR roleplay audio using the concept of a Hellhound, they thought that was ripping off Sinder. And people in the community were saying stuff like, "You're cringe." She was getting dogpiled. Had to remove a lot of this stuff because of the overwhelming dogpiling. And you can see on tweets like this, liked by Sinder, and also redacted as well. Not too surprising. But this pettiness and this crazy notion that she owns the concept of a hellhound and is supporting people dogpiling on this other creator because she dared to use the concept for an ASMR roleplay is wild.
Stupid.
The unbelievable pettiness is crazy, and also just reminiscent of a better time when likes were public. Miss those days. It used to be such a good tool. But let's go back to the art or the Google Doc from Silvervale. And this is the most brutal section. If you hung in there for the 25 minutes we.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry guys. If I'm yapping, man, it's a crazy video. Like one of my favorite VTubers. If you're watching, I love you. Keep watching. This is no hate. We just gotta talk how it is, man. I'm a realist. I'm a realist first before I start bullshitting y'all. I have no moral authority. I can be wrong. Trust me, I'm human. But let's keep watching.
Been talking. Okay, this to me is the most brutal, hard watch of this entire thing. It's just embarrassing, and again, the greediness is off the charts. So, it's titled Sinder and I. Discovering that all of this was going on behind the scenes has been gut-wrenching. I didn't know Sinder. We weren't friends, and we have barely talked. Even writing this, I do not understand what I could have possibly done to warrant the level of malice and cruelty shown. In our private interactions, I was cordial as possible, but I just wasn't interested in associating with her professionally or being her friend. From the few uncomfortable interactions I did have with her, I had gotten the vibe that her primary goal was to climb the social and content ladder and grow her brand. And she goes on to say, like, okay, if you want to do that, that's fine, but I just don't want to be associated with someone like that at all. Just trying to pretend to be a friend for the purposes of growing their brand.
Everybody does it. Everybody does it. This is social media, guys. Come on. Everybody does it. People don't even do it with social media. They do it with business. They do it with anything. They just do it so they can climb the social ladder. That's how it is. You're around the popular kids, you get the girls, It's you go to clubs, you buy the alcohol, social ladder, basically. You buy the car. Why do you buy a Mercedes-Benz? Social ladder. Everybody does it, Everybody.
So then we get this screenshot saying the only time I had actually talked to her directly was during my meet and greets at TwitchCon 2023. I had just finished my meet and greet, and as I was wrapping up, she walked directly to the screen to meet me and had someone else take a picture of us together. I was not informed of this picture or asked permission for it, and only knew about it once I saw it on Twitter later on. And you can see Sinder cosplaying her own character talking to Silvervale on the meet and greet.
Yeah, to be fair, Sinder is hella hot. Like, I gotta give her that.
Virtual meet and greet. And she captioned it, "Stop by to say hi after my meets. Wolf girls," like trying to imply like they're
Wolf
united
girls.
and they're in this together, even though this was the first conversation they ever had. It's like a very lame attempt to present this fake friendship or a fake mutual respect here, and to somehow maybe try to gain some of her community as a result. Very strange stuff. And you can see later on there'd be more discussions. I believe this is Silvervale's manager saying, also, Sinder really loved meeting you and wanted to collab, so I told her I'd let you know and I could throw you guys in a group chat if you're interested. And Silvervale would say, "Hello, I appreciate the sentiment, but I don't prefer collabs." And the manager says, "No worries. I hope you're having a good weekend." And Silvervale says, "Aw, thanks. Still busy with a lot of IRL stuff. Sorry for not being interested in collabs. I just like to do my own thing.
Yeah.
But I'm always open to messages, yada, yada, yada."
Cool.
So then after that, Sinder would then reach out directly to Silvervale and have this private DM saying, "Hi, Silver. Sorry for getting back to you late. I've been super sick from TwitchCon, yada, yada, yada.
Yada, yada.
But yeah, no worries if you don't prefer to stream together. My manager suggested something more like sponsorships, merch, music, or some kind of other project together that maybe Mythic could help with if needed."
Of course, dangle the money. Dangle the money. Dangle the money. they might come. Smart. She's just smart. I love Sinder. She's very smart.
I love to chat more either way.
Cap.
And Silvervale responds by saying, no worries, it's been super hectic and busy for everyone. I hope you're feeling better. I'm really flattered by the persistence, but I'm just not interested in transactional relationships with anyone. I hope you can understand.
Yeah, Silvervale wasn't bullshitting. She was just like, nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm good, you know?
So they saw all the context of these interactions between the managers and then through Sinder herself and said, you're proposing a transactional relationship. Like, every aspect of this, even the interacting here, is just part of a transactional relationship, and I don't want that. Basically, go away.
Go away.
Based? Pretty impressive. I mean, she came up with the phrase Twitter freaks like 2 years ago, but this is up there with that. Pretty base stuff right here. But then we would get more comments from Redacted pretty much on the same subject, talking about how, like, at the end of the day, it isn't about how much we can make compared to her. We just want her to recognize, hey, Cinder's a big VTuber too.
Which she is.
She got there on her own merits, just like you did. Get along. And the marketing potential and the money they could make if they teamed up. That's the only part that's in all caps. That is clearly the most important part of this proposed relationship between Sinder and Silvervale. It was all about making money. Yeah, and when they got told no, they're now coping and seething in these messages. And they even went as far as implying that some of Silvervale's various projects, like a spinning figure, was just copycatting Sinder. That they were trying to piggyback on her ideas and basically try to replicate it. And that this was feeding into this narrative that people were allegedly making, that there's some sort of a copycat situation here, that people are associating the two together and it's driving them crazy. And they want Silvervale to recognize Sinder and that they feel there's an unspoken competition. Remember, at this point, Silvervale pretty much doesn't even know who Sinder is, and when there was a proposed set of interactions, they pretty much said, go away. I don't want this transactional relationship.
It's weird, yeah.
I don't know why Silvervale just like completely mind broke these two people, but yeah, the proof is there. And of course, as a result of all this, it gets pretty unfortunate because then, through this whole exclusivity issue, Silvervale lost out on a model commission from Nanolist. And that is the whole issue here, because this was something she was looking forward to, and it was taken away from her because
Nanolist,
Sinder, and Redacted
also Nanolist, red flag. Red flag.
Didn't want her to have the benefit of working with Nanolist because they knew it was a good career opportunity for her, or at least something special to her community. This whole thing is a complete and utter
shit show
mess. But anyways, that's pretty much it. There's still some other...
Okay, my first thoughts after watching all of this. Number one, Sinder shouldn't fire her manager. Her manager is on her team. Guys, you need a manager like Red Acted, whatever the freak it calls them. Red is honestly on point. This is all smart. I am not gonna flock or hate. You know, this is smart. This is business 101. Follow this playbook, but at the same time, it breeds this is where you're gonna land up. Where if it works to the fullest, you either be superstar or people are gonna hate you. So this is a double-edged sword, basically. This is the meaning of double-edged sword. This is a meaning of gatekeeping. This is all the above. Very, very sad times, bro. Sinder really needs to figure out her shit. You know, cause bro. For her to throw her manager under the bus, stupid. Dumbass, because we can see through it. It's like you're now the fakers. Stand next to your manager or don't say nothing at all, because your manager was on whose team? Your team. He's not like he was on other people's team. He was on your team. And now you throwing that guy underneath the bus. Now we looking at you crazy. Like, what? Nah. Very, very upsetting. Anyways, you guys tell me what you guys think. Like and subscribe. Heavy stuff. My heart is heavy. No, it's not. I don't give a fuck. Peace out, everybody.